Welcome to the YCast, everybody. This is the first YCast for Season 9. I'm your host, Malachi, the coach of the androids, and today I am joined by...
Yubel, supporter of Team Boo.
And Motark, supporter of ED, or Earth Defenders.
Alright, so the first things first. With the new season upon us, the YCast will also have a new format. So our goal has always been to try and bring analysis and commentary on where we feel like teams could try and do better. And so what we're gonna do is, instead of going over every single match, we're still gonna do win-loss records at the beginning of each podcast. But after that, we're going to kind of focus on topics where we feel like there is discussion, things to talk about. Some weeks there might be a bigger topic that, maybe covers all the matches in a week, and sometimes it might just be, several smaller discussions. Like this week, we're just going to be talking about some of the breakout performances in week 1. Hopefully you found that helpful. We will look forward to seeing your feedback in the comments, and if there's ways we can improve, let us know and we'll look at it. But having said that, let's go ahead and get started with our win-loss records. So this week we had our first match of the season was Androids versus Valkyries. Androids won. Match 2 was Dragon Ball Warriors versus Majins, with the Majins winning. Match 3 was Muscle versus Derp. Muscle won. Match 4 was Namek versus Cold. Cold won that. Match 5 was Blades versus Gohans, with Blades pulling off a nice victory. Match 6 was Rugrats versus Afterlife, and Afterlife doing great and taking the win. Match 7 was Booze versus Saiyans, with, well, I think I should just say Booze versus Nail. But Saiyans took the win, and match 8 with Earth Defenders versus Ginyu. And we need to give congratulations to Earth Defenders because they got the first elite member of Season 9 in Mid Vegeta.
Woo!
So congratulations to y'all for that. Mid Vegeta did great. I hope to not see him ever dodge all those B2s again. Hopefully he just takes them to the face for the rest of the season, especially against my team.
Oh, yeah. We've had many of conversations or little friendly banter between ourselves, between androids and ED.
That we have. So we'll leave it at that. But let's move on to our quote-unquote main topic for this week, which are the breakout performances from everybody that we've seen, and to be more specific, where we in the YCast have kind of been surprised by what we've seen. First up is the man of the hour, who has spent 2 seasons on the FA bench to come back with an astonishing 30k damage in his first week back in the main season, Guldo. Yeah. What are y'all's thoughts on Guldo?
Shocked the hell out of everybody that when it was time to see Ginyu's builds, and it was Guldo in and Raccoon out, everybody lost their mind on that one. But his first performance was actually pretty good. He was probably the reason why it was Vegeta who went elite and not Yamcha who went elite, because I could easily see Yamcha stepping over Guldo as well and taking, half of the next character in, and it'd be Yamcha going elite instead. But no, he came in and 30k is not too impressive. It's Guldo, and that's good for Guldo. So yeah, it seems like a new difficulty.
It's not only that, but Yamcha's no one to sneeze over, especially for a melee fighter, and Guldo had his number. And this is coming from someone who worked on Yamcha on the off-season. He's one of our better characters, and the fact that Guldo not only stood up to him, and he was almost full health. Captain Ginyu in the end only took off half of his first bar, and Guldo basically took him down.
Mm-hmm.
So that is nothing to sneeze at. Whatever Ginyu did to him was amazing, I have to say.
Indeed. I mean, especially looking at what we saw from Galdo in the preseason. I'll be completely honest. I was one of the ones that was surprised to see Galdo in, and to see Goldo take out Yamcha, who was basically fully health, was really impressive for Goldo. Especially since in the preseason he had 4 to 5 points, sometimes even 6 points of his build dedicated to B1s, and to come in this week with like a much more standard defense build and do what he did. I thought that was really impressive, and I hope that maybe this is the return of Goldo, and maybe Ginyu Force won't be as dependent on getting a really good free agent, like it seems like they were in the last couple seasons.
Mm-hmm.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but whenever we saw Goldo in the past, they were always trying the exquisite skill build, right?
Yes. So to give you an idea of what let me just read off his build from the last few weeks. It was defense +3, attack -1, launch of support, KSA. Excuse me, that was this week. What he was usually on in the preseason was defense +2, attack -1, spiritual control, KSA, exquisite skill, and he had that the first 3 weeks of the preseason. But starting with preseason week 3, they started to move him away from that to what we're seeing now, and I gotta say, I think it's working. Maybe tweak the AI a little more, but good job, Ginyu.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else with Goldo, guys?
No, other than if you can do that to the rest of your team, Ginyu might be more than just seeing the finals.
Yeah. All right, so let's move on to our next surprising performance, Nail.
I would rather not talk about that.
Oh God.
It might be we're looking at the next Bojack here. Dropped off. He was dropped from Namek this season due to them having some trouble figuring out what to do with him. And it looks like Saiyans just had his number and figured out what to do. Just kind of looking at his build. Let me pull it up.
Just defense +2, eternal life, quick fast attack on Piccolo. Nothing impressive.
Yeah.
Nail's not a bad character, and there were some people who were saying that Nail, just because he got dropped out from the Namekians, that he was a bad character. It's not the case. Like, he has a super explosive wave. That automatically makes him not a bad character. He has stalling, which is a super great B1.
Yeah, I mean, so for context, we're talking about this right after the first Zcast stream. I didn't realize that stalling was key +5.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
That is awesome.
And that freaking power body-esque effect. Like, not even Kid Buu could punch through that. Like, when you see Kid Buu not even, affecting someone in the Melee game, that's when you know that you got something on your hands.
Yeah.
Most definitely. I mean, I don't think I was one of the ones who got into a bidding war with Saiyans on Nail. Like, I don't think I've ever seen Nail as a bad character. I think kind of what happened was, everyone else on the team could just do what they were doing better than Nail, and this is what happens when you put a decent character onto a different team that can actually make the best use of him. And that being said, I don't feel like we're gonna see this every week.
It depends. You got that build, and of course, he did have the wonderful magic Patara of awesomeness that I don't want to get into. But
not only that, it's a new AI right now, and a lot of people are still trying to get their feet wet with what it does and what's changed truly about their characters.
Yeah, I mean, I would tend to agree with you on that, Motork. I think what we are seeing, this season is going to be a lot like season 7 in a lot of ways, where we're still going to have to refigure out everybody, and that's going to be a big help to teams that did a lot of testing and got their characters figured out. And I will be honest, I'm sick of seeing Nail because as a tester, I've seen him way too many times from the Saiyans testing.
It's a good effect, apparently.
So I mean, but importance of testing. I think the teams that did the most testing and got their characters figured out, we're gonna see really good things from.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. On the other side of the spectrum, as a member of the Boos, I don't think that it was a super bad defeat. It was a bad call. We were afraid of the Eternal Life the entire time. We thought they would probably start Raditz and anchor their Eternal Life character, but it's the other way around, and it all just fell apart for us. So not a good call.
And
oh, sorry.
there's other things I want to say about that, but I kind of want to wait until we get to that character.
All right. And one last thing for Nail. Nail, he got dropped off from Namek. He was just a safe call. He's just one of those members that they can drop and pick right back up. Personally, I feel like probably early Piccolo's the weaker character of them, but of course, if they drop early Piccolo, Dragonball Warriors is going to pick him up and scoop him up real quick. So, that's one of the big issues here. But I think Nail's going to be a fine character, a big, nice pick. So, I'm done talking about Nail.
Agreed. Do you have anything to add to that, Motork?
Not really, other than if he keeps this up, Namek's going to be seeing a great new member next season.
Ain't that the truth? So, but let's go ahead and move on to the next person to talk about, which is the Dragon Ball Warriors key player, Nam. So this week he did do 52K, which is not bad. But and some of this is kind of going back into the preseason where, it just feels like, maybe base Vegito is kind of overshadowing him a bit from time to time, but it feels like Nam just isn't quite there with the new AI yet.
And that just pushes back to my earlier point of it's a new AI. Everyone's still trying to get their feet wet with how this works.
Yeah. Like my story on that is we did a test during the off season with Android 16 against Nam on his usual build and AI. So it was like Type +2 Eternal Life and Serious and Quick Fast Attack, I think, or whatever the exact build was with Cell AI. And 16 did a 3-0 against him in a best of 5. Which, on the one hand, fantastic for 16. On the other hand, for Dragon Ball Warriors, that's really concerning. Nam did do really well this week, but it was mostly through B2s this week, if I recall correctly. I remember seeing several cross-arm attacks and things like that. Actually, no. Stats say he only did 2 B2s and hit with 1.
Yeah, so it was melee, but still just seems kind of lackluster. At least with this week, he was back on his usual build. I know during the preseason, they took away his Eternal Life and gave it to Kid Goku, which means that he wasn't healing as much. He went back to his usual form with the Eternal Life and, of course, did 50k plus, so a little bit more than what he's usually doing. His AI is different. It's not Cell AI. It was Majin Buu AI. And, just seems like everybody got a little bit stronger during this difficulty change, but Nam, he's just a little bit less, since we're stepping away from the melee game in comparison to the old difficulty. He's not the B2er that everybody else can possibly be, so his melee game is just not as potent.
And again, some of this might just be, the rest of the team is just looking better, and so by contrast, Nam's just not standing out as much. And I hope that's the case. Because, Dragon Ball Warriors last season had a really tough season because they depended almost entirely on Nam to carry them, and he just couldn't do that. Go ahead, Michael.
Yeah. Oh, no, I wasn't going to say anything. I was going to say, it's kind of like a double-edged sword. It's like the game telling him not to rely too much on Nam, but at the same time, if one of your best characters is being lackluster, that just hurts the team overall.
Yeah. I mean, and I think last season, to be fair, one of the problems they had last season was they were by far the most paranoid about Power Body, and just throwing it, using 2 Draconic Auras in a week where their opponents didn't really have a history of using them. And I feel like as long as even just not doing that will be a big help to their team.
Mhm.
But yeah, but hopefully the things will improve for them. But with Nam, I'm not sure what we can really say to do to improve other than, maybe keep doing AI testing and see what happens.
Yeah.
So now moving on to one of our new FAs, who quite honestly is probably with as hyped as Super Saiyan 4s are, Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta ain't been worth what he was paid for.
No, not at all.
And that's really surprising. I mean, yes, he's been nerfed, but is it just me, or does anyone else feel like there's just something really wrong here? Because this week he did 19k damage.
He got his butt kicked by Roshi or Jackie Chun. It was bad, and his thing is that he hasn't been looking that great at all. During the off season, he wasn't looking that good. During the preseason, he wasn't looking that good. I think maybe the best performance he's did was take his man at most, but it's never been like, oh my god, this is Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta, he's gonna come out and do like 60, 80k, and you better watch out. Like, it's weird to say, but I think on Team Derp, he might be one of the weakest, if not the weakest link in Team Derp, which is amazing, because you think that he'd be great. It's just his charge rate is pitiful. They're throwing him on a defense build because they've tested so many other things on him, and he's just not working. So I just don't know what to do with him at this point.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen the other stuff they're doing with him in the off-season testing, so I can't say too much. But I'm just looking at what's going on here, and I'm like, there's got to be something better than this defense build, because I mean, his charge rate's not bad, but it just feels like, just looking at the builds from the preseason and what they're doing now, he's always had defense plus 3, attack -1, and then it's always been a tank build of some form. And I'm wondering if that's the right call with him. So like, well, what would y'all do with him if he wasn't a tank build?
Despite his bad charge rate, he has great B2s. He has a great ult. His charge rate's bad, but you can fix that. We have Pataras.
Yeah.
I'd go for that. I would try to help him become a little bit more of a spammer, which of course, once again, you have to fit the kind of team mold, and with Hercule and Devilman, those are kind of your B2ers, and then you got Dodoria, who's kind of like their big tanky tank. Like, they have 2 defense players in Dodoria and Vegeta, and then Kibito as their melee. You just kind of fit the mold of the team, but right now his part and the role in the team is not working. You might have to work the team around him, because if not, he can be your weak link, and you're strong. If you're only strong as your weak link, it's not going to go well with him as your weak link.
Yeah. What about you, Motort?
Honestly, it's a Vegeta. So, and it's strange to see him like this. Normally, you can throw a B2 or a melee build on a Vegeta and it works, right?
Yeah.
But
usually you can throw anything on a Vegeta and it works.
Yeah, but unfortunately, it seems like this new difficulty has messed with this specific Vegeta. So, honestly, if none of your builds are working, then I guess start spam testing the AI tests on him. See if you can find one that fits the mold that you need to fit him on your team, and just see if you can make it work.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna agree with you, Will, a little bit, and with you on this. I think the biggest problem right now, just looking at their builds, they have Devilman and Hercule that have all the charge Pataras. What I would say is, honestly, Herc doesn't need a charge Patara. Especially if you're going to give him launches support. So give Devilman, like, the way I look at it is there's some characters that just need an all-around build. Like what we did with 16 for a good part of last season, or of season 8, was Key +2, Power of Rage, Serious, Indignation, Master Throw. And, maybe there was another Patara on top of that. I don't remember. Off the top of my head, I don't know if that's 6 or 7 points. But maybe just give him some ki and let him do what he wants. Like y'all are saying, this is a Vegeta. He can do, and I have a feeling that if you find the right AI for him, you just give him ki and tell him to go have fun on the playground.
Yep, ki. You can't go wrong with more ki. There's nothing bad about having more ki. It'll help you dodge in the melee game. You'll throw out more B2s. You can block, rush B2s. Like, just more ki is always good. So
yeah, because here's the thing. Like, every character charges those first 2 bars, passively, and ki +1 or ki +2 will help you with that as well. And one of the things that Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta did have for him, in order to make him competitive by league standards, was his charge rate was nerfed. And I think that now might have been too much, maybe, but as we're saying, that can be fixed. And I think that what we see here is just an example of, like with baby Vegeta, like when we were starting to do some testing towards the end of last season, one of the things we noticed was even just giving baby Vegeta, who was our weakest character by far, other than Zero, just giving him fighting spirit fixed most of his problems. And I feel like, I just think that they're even just switching that out, maybe giving him even just the tiniest bit of charging would be such a big help for him. So, yep. But yeah, moving on to probably the most surprising, really good performance of the week. King Cold. Who did 86k against, I believe it was Namek?
Yeah. I wouldn't believe it if you didn't state it. You might have to do them stats over again, because I don't know. That's amazing. And it's not like it's just this one-time thing. He's been pretty good this entire season 9. You always thought that he was the weak link of the team, but no, he's stepping up, and it's looking kind of scary for Team Cold.
Oh yeah.
If this is Cold's weak link,
then we have a lot to worry about.
Me more so than the two of y'all, because they're in my division.
Yeah.
At the very least, I think it was Gohan's and Dragon Ball Warriors had the courtesy to lose this week. Cold, not so much.
I mean, you can just go ahead and trade King Cold for Cell. That sounds like an even trade, right?
We'll trade King Cold for Zero.
No, I mean like in a battle. You would lose
I'll trade King Cold for
King
Zero.
Cold and you lose Cell in the battle versus you two in a match. That sounds fair, right?
I'll trade King Cold for Zero. Or 19. One of the two.
But
yeah,
no, he was doing his job.
He is. What are your thoughts, Motork?
Honestly, not much other than just he's going to be a scary character if he keeps this up, and couple that with like the spamminess that we know Mecha Frieza has, the consistency Cooler has, and just the scariness Frieza has on his own. This team on its own is probably going to be one of the more matches people are going to prepare for than others during this season.
Yeah, I mean, this is if this is the new face of Cold, this is terrifying. I because I'm in their division, I'm a little biased, but I really hope that this is a flash in the pan. Now for speaking more objectively, it is really good to see Cold doing this, King Cold doing this great. And now this is where I'm putting my get people to use the right charge Pataras hat on that I've been wielding for at least 2 seasons now. Take high tension off King Cold, please.
If he's doing it, you can't say anything. But no, seriously, that's not a good Patara.
I mean, for non-Android characters, high tension is just not worth it, especially if you're not using launch of support on anybody. For Metacooler, yes, I see you using it on Metacooler, and yay, glad y'all got that notice. But for King Cold, it's so much better to replace high tension with launches and maybe indignation.
If they can afford
Just
it. It
if
seems
they
like
can
the room
afford
is
it.
building for 5, and we don't know what Frieza is doing. So that's
Yeah,
the issue. And of course, that's also another team that cannot use Eternal Life. So it's really difficult
yeah,
to build for 5 when you don't have that. Just Eternal Life. There goes 4 points. Done. You know. So.
yeah.
Yeah.
It is, and
But
I mean,
you know what? Tell you the truth, I would rather you go Dragon Power than High Tension. Like, come on.
yeah. I mean, especially with King Cold, he has a rush ultimate,
hmm
which
That's
means,
that's very short distance, I should point out.
yeah, it is short distance, but I mean, it is still a rush. I mean, and with Vegeta AI, it can be some characters it is clashy on. However, that is the hat I have of use the right charge Vitaras for the right characters. Kind of take that hat off. You know, it might. I feel like there might be a bit of skin attached to that. Anything else with him, guys?
No. Just congratulations, Cold. If they keep this up, this is going to be a very strong season for them.
Indeed. So moving on to another breakout performance of Videl.
Mm.
The changes have definitely helped her. You know, I love the build. That's exactly what she should be. You know, some people think that okay, Videl, she just be spam, but she already has a good charge rate. She just sprinkles in a couple B2s. But if you can just up her melee damage, she has a pretty quick melee game. She kind of has that kind of stun hit like Nom on top of what she does with her spam, and you got a great character. And of course, there are a couple weeks where she didn't have Clash Boost, and I was mad about that. But they actually put some Clash Boost on her, and she is a good character. Definitely a better choice than Pan. And I think that she's just going to be, you know, another scary member along with the rest of Val's, which at this point, I'm not really seeing too much of a hole in their team.
I kind of have to agree.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm really happy to see Videl doing a lot better, especially after her basically being on the free agent bench the last couple seasons. And I think we are going to go back to an era where people have to worry about her. I mean, she's got that spamminess, she's got that great charge rate, and now that they're willing to put her on a heavy attack build, I mean, we could be seeing some really good stuff from them.
Not only that, you also have to think about this. Before, she had the issue of wasting her ki trying to spam her ki blasts. Do you remember those?
Mm-hmm.
Those
Oh
times?
yeah.
Now that she has that replaced with just a kick, they don't have to worry about her just sitting there trying to fight, blast it, or wasting ki in just a wasteful situation where she could potentially be using that for a B2. Now that the AI knows that she has a kick, it won't try to spam it out. I think that's just helping out overall, and that's just making her a more scarier character.
Oh yeah. But here's a scary thought. At the end of the season, we could be seeing Videl replacing Nom as the top melee character of the league.
Yeah, that could happen.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be scary.
I mean, with what we're seeing, if Videl keeps this up, we really could see that happen.
Mm-hmm.
Not only that, she might be even better than Trunks and might take the role of of one of the scaries in the MVP tournaments.
Possibly, especially with what we saw from Kid Trunks this week.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So
that is still a ways away.
Yep. So Videl's good. Val's good. Val's do well after week 2. Then after that, go to town. I don't care. But before that,
can't imagine why you'd want to see them not do well next week.
I don't know.
So let's move on to Nuova. So.
Do you want me to take over?
I'll let you take over first.
All right.
I do have a couple comments I would like to put on the record.
All right, go. I would gladly hear it. Nova's been nerfed to hell and back, and then back to hell. They've nerfed his charge rate, his B2 damage. He can't have Eternal Life, but he can't have Eternal Life on our team anyway, unless Kid Boo's out. He cannot have Rush Blast 2, he cannot have Master Blast, and they have just nerfed him to just so bad. So we've been struggling with him. We thought we found something. We thought we could have Rush Blast 2 on him like the entire offseason, and then come preseason, it's like, no, you can't do that. And it's like, oh, okay, well, I guess we'll just up him to Rush Blast 3, and that's pretty much the same thing. But look at his damage. His damage is just not worth the Rush Blast 3. It really isn't. He is no Vegeta. So
yeah.
Yeah.
Just for a point of clarification, because this was so in some ways you only have yourselves to blame for that, because until y'all really started pushing the Rush Blast 2 testing, no one noticed that loophole with the whole thing. Because the intention, and as staff has already pointed out, we won't spend too much time on it. It wasn't entirely. Rush Blast 2 was how it worked was a little misunderstood, and once it became understood that Rush Blast 2 actually gave the 50% bonus damage and not Rush Blast 3, that's when that loophole got closed.
Yep.
Now, as to that, I get where y'all are going with putting him on the Rush Blast 3, but I think it is well past time for y'all to give up the dream.
Yes, we are.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to state what his build is this upcoming week for week 2. And by the time that this video goes up, builds will probably already be posted. But he is not on Rush Blast 3.
Yeah, I can get it during the preseason. Y'all changed his AI a bit. I'm just looking at what y'all were doing.
Yeah, we were looking at a lot of different AIs.
And I get it. I feel like maybe y'all did this in other off-season testing. I just didn't see it. Y'all might have missed Vegeta AI a bit, because I know that tends to like to throw out Rush Blasts.
We tried Vegeta AI. It seems like the best couple AIs, definitely Gohan AI and Chaozu AI. Right now we're rolling with the Gohan AI, but I personally would like to go with looking more at the Chaozu AI, but we'll get a little bit more time.
But I think sorry for interrupting you, but I think
no. Because I could probably explain the reason why we kind of went Rush Blast 3. Once again, we are yet, similar to Cold War, another team that cannot use Eternal Life on the regular. We have 2 healers. We can only put 1 out, so that means Kid Buu's going to be in for at least, 12 out of the 15 weeks, which means no Eternal Life. And we're trying to build for 5, hopefully we'll make it to the playoffs. So, if we do make it to the playoffs, it won't be sneaking up on us, and we're trying to stretch out the Patara list for 5 characters, which is very, very difficult to do.
It is.
So, it gets to some point where you're just kind of scraping the barrel of Patara, and we're just like, man, what do we have left to put on anybody? So,
hey, you can always do Flight.
Leave. But yeah,
Flight and or change pink.
Yeah, we're not going with Rush Blast 3 this upcoming week. No more Rush Blast 3. We were looking at it and we're like, man, that we put 3 Patara's worth of points into Rush Blast 3, and he was only doing like 1.3k with a charged blast. It's like, that's pitiful. Like that's the damage you would expect if he didn't have the up. So I was like, I don't know what's going on here, but no more of that.
Okay.
We're gonna try to take a page from Derp's book back when Derp had him, and hopefully we can make him back to he doesn't need to be like the 60-80k monster he was on Derp, but I would be happy if he just took his man, which of course he didn't do against Nom, which was an uphill battle, but still, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, do you have anything, Motort?
Honestly, not much right now, other than what you guys already said, so I have nothing really to add on.
Yep. So, so we've already said our piece about Mid Vegeta. Congratulations again on getting elite status. So, and with that is going to be the end of our week 1 review for this week. Thank you guys for joining us on the YCast. Say goodbye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
See ya.